Hi class, Professor Dockeray here. This video is going to walk you through the Academic Blueprint Assignment Part 2. Now in Part 1, we already found our degree audit, or your what-if analysis if you're a dual enrollment student. This is going to get attached again when you submit Part 2, because this is how we're going to ensure that parts of the Part 2 assignment are done correctly. So be sure that you still have your degree audit saved. We're going to use it for this activity too. I would also like to request a little bit of grace as this genuinely involves a ton of windows. If you have the capabilities, I would strongly suggest printing out some documents if you can. That way you're not going through multiple tabs and there's just a lot going on once you get there. So let's look at the assignment. So you can see from the directions you're going to be uploading 3 documents when you submit Part 2. It's going to be the actual Part 2, so the assignment that I'm looking at that you're actually going to fill out. It's your degree audit, which again is the page that shows all the classes you've taken and what your grades have been and things like that from Part 1. And then we're also going to attach our future plan. So if you are working on an AA degree, so in other words, you're going to finish at Valencia and then transfer to a 4-year college or university, you'll do one procedure. And if you're working on an AS degree at Valencia, these are usually degrees that you're not going to transfer with. So for example, things like nursing, would be an AS degree because it's considered that once you receive the AS degree, you can go out into the workforce. It's not saying you can't keep going to school, but typically, if you're in an AS program at Valencia, it's meant to kind of be something you can take into the workforce immediately compared to an AA degree, which is really meant to get you ready for college or university. So if we're working on an AA degree and you plan to finish at Valencia, the new document, that third piece that you need to submit, is your degree program sheet. This is the form from the catalog of the college or university you're transferring to that explains what classes you need to take in order to get the bachelor's degree that you're pursuing. So there are 2 ways to do this. First is a little more specialized and really only meant for students who are going to colleges or universities, state colleges or universities within Florida, and that's through Florida Shines. So this is kind of a website run by the state that can help you kind of get your education together, and its purpose is really to follow you through any state institutions. So the idea is, if you go to Valencia and then go to UCF, all your information from both places is here on this site. So if we look under the menu here, you'll see there's a few different options. What we're looking for is transfer schools. Once we click that, you'll see there are some different options. And the top one is what you would choose if you're going to a university. So if you want to go to University of South Florida or UCF or FSU, any of those colleges, universities, you would use the first option. The second option is if you plan to do a 4-year degree at a state college. So for example, here at Valencia, that is nursing, engineering, those programs that you could stay at Valencia and earn a bachelor's degree for, or any of the other state colleges. Lots of the other ones have 4-year degrees as well. I think the associate's, the AA degree to a university is probably more common, so I'll use that as the example. So you can click Check Now. You're going to look for Valencia, and we'll click Sign In. And it will either redirect you to Atlas to log in, I happen to be logged in the background, so I'm not sure it'll ask me to log in yet. So from here, I select the university I want to go to next. You'll notice the most common one, UCF, is not here. So I will show you what to do with that next. But let's say that you want to go to University of Florida. You'll select the bachelor's degree that you're pursuing. I don't know. I'll just pick something random. How about business administration? And click submit. Since Florida Shines can tap into Atlas, it's essentially going to pull up my degree audit. So remember that form from part 1 that shows us what classes we're registered for? It's going to analyze that and then tell me if I'm in good shape to transfer to the university that I chose. So in this case, I'm logged in as a fictitious student, and it's going to tell me if that student is prepared or on track to go to University of Florida. Okay, so it looked like it was taking a long time. I paused the recording and eventually got an error message saying that UF was having connection issues. So if that happens to you, you will follow the next steps I'm going to show you. I'm going to use UCF as an example, but you could do that for any college or university in the entire country, public or private. So for the sake of showing this, I switched over to University of South Florida, and they did not have a business administration degree, but they have accounting. So I've gone with that. So you'll see at the top, it gives you the information for your current college and what's going on, and then any intended information from a counselor. So these are kind of like the table of contents. So you can go to program admission. That will be admission into the actual accounting program in this case. So one important thing to know is that when you do direct connect to UCF or transfer to a lot of the other state universities, you get automatic acceptance into the university. You are not guaranteed acceptance into your specific program. So if a program is extremely competitive at, say, UCF, it's not a guarantee that you'll be able to go and pursue that specific major that you have in mind. Now, obviously, the better your grades are and things like that, the better your chances. But just realize that there are extra steps. It's not just you're guaranteed to go get a neuroscience degree. You have to hit requirements. And one of the ways you could do that is by looking at the program admission requirements and making sure that you fulfill them. So for example, it is telling me what I would need to do to get into that program. And most of these are going to be 1,000 or 2,000 level courses. So for example, the course we're in now is SLS1122. It's a 1,000 level course. That means that it's intended for a college freshman. Of course, at Valencia, we don't quite, not all of our students are full-time, so things don't always work out that way. But the way you can think about it is that course numbers that start with a 1,000 or a 2,000 are meant for an associate's degree or pre-work, and then courses you see that have a 3,000 or a 4,000 are typically courses you would take at the university. So if we look at our program admission requirements, it's telling us you have to take these classes in order to be considered for acceptance into, again in this case, the accounting program. So things like financial accounting, managerial accounting, computers and business, or one of these substitutes, macroeconomics, microeconomics, etc., etc. It also tells you about your foreign language requirement. So you can see that USF doesn't require a foreign language unless it's up here in this paragraph. So there may be other requirements. So you'll see that it'll tell you what your GPA needs to be, things like that as well. So as we scroll down, again, because we connected Valencia and USF through Florida Shines, it has those requirements up top compared against my current degree audit. So you can see that I have to take Principles of Accounting. I haven't done that. Keep going. Computers and Business. I haven't done that. Business Calculus. I haven't done that. So I'm definitely not on track if I am this student. So what we do with this information is we use this now to inform the classes that we need to take the rest of our time at Valencia. So if I go back to my degree evaluation report, I haven't hit these requirements because my meta major probably isn't registered as business. So when we declare at Valencia, we don't quite have majors, but our meta majors are meant to kind of keep us in line with what we'll need to go get that kind of a bachelor's degree. So I wouldn't necessarily, get an associate's degree in accounting. It's still going to be a general studies AA, but the courses that I take, especially in my elective section, are going to be these courses listed here, these prerequisites to take before getting into the program. Now, if I go a little farther down, it's going to look at more of the general evaluation. So, at any college or university, those first 2 years, you have to take an English, you have to take a history, you have to take a speech, things like that. So it's going to tell me if I have satisfied a requirement or not. So, oh look, the student just skirted by an NSE. As I go down, my communications requirements, ENC 1101, I'm registered. I haven't taken it yet, but I'm there. I haven't taken 1102, but I have taken speech, and I passed, so I'm good there. And you'll see it'll keep going on throughout all of these categories. Now, this upper, requirements are also going to be listed. So these are a little bit deeper things that you will have to meet. So, for example, you could see the foreign language requirement. Now, this is like a competency test you can take at USF. And you can see it has all the languages listed. So now it shows you what's required for the major in accounting. So these are classes you're not expected to have taken yet. This doesn't play into any large part of the assignment, but this is for your own knowledge. So you might be taking NSE as your very first class, your very first college course, but theoretically you now have a map for everything you need to do until you get your bachelor's degree. Now, that's what you would attach. So you can see there's a little print this page dialog, and we can save it as a PDF. So this is what you would attach to part 2 if you were able to get your degree program sheet through Florida Shines. Now, I mentioned the other kind of situation you might fall into. So if you want to go to a college or university that's not in Florida Shines, whether it's UCF or, NYU or UCLA, any college or university that's not one of those few that was on our drop-down list earlier, you still can find this information. It's just not going to be as customized for you. So, for example, let's pretend I want to go to UCF. I'm going to go to UCF's website, and you'll use the search feature. See, I already practiced. You're going to look for the word catalog. And so I put in catalog. I'm going to click the magnifying glass. And eventually, when I get my search results, here we go, you're going to look for the undergraduate catalog. Virtually any college or university is going to have some kind of section on their website that has their catalog. So what is the catalog? Just like at Valencia College, it gives you all the information you need to know about going to that college, as well as their programs and what you have to fulfill in order to graduate. So usually on the left-hand side in the table of contents, you're going to look for something like programs. It might say majors. It depends. So let's say I want to do College of Business Administration. You can see it now lists all of the majors that you can get, and you're looking for these ones that have a BS or BA listed next to them. So let's stick with accounting just for the heck of it. So now this shows me, again, everything about the business program. So I can see, again, what my admission requirements are for the actual program itself. So not to get into UCF, but in order to say that my major is accounting, this is what I have to have before I get there. It has some of those general degree requirements again, about what kind of grades you need to have, what kind of GPA. And then again, it lists out our information, but again, it's just not going to be customized the way that we saw the USF example. So it tells me I have to earn at least 6 credits from this category. So you can see it's things like ENC 1101, 1102, speech. Then it tells me I need to get 6 credits from what's following here, and then 3 credits from one of the other categories. Same with my math. It tells me what math I need to take in order to get in. It tells me science, and so on and so forth. And then you'll see eventually we get to degree requirements, which is the stuff you would complete when you got to UCF in this case. So you just have to do a little more kind of mental math, so to speak. And this is why I mentioned it might be easier to print, because from here, what you're going to do is look at the general education requirements, and then look at your degree audit and see what you've completed and what you need to complete. So for example, I can see that I finished college algebra. Now if I go here to the math section, perfect. I have to complete college algebra. But I also need to do computer fundamentals for business. So I know that that's something I want to do while I'm at Valencia if I haven't yet. And you're going to do that for each of the common prerequisite things on this list. And again, if you're a newer student and your degree audit doesn't quite look like this example one, maybe you have, maybe 9 credits by now, that's why looking at the program sheet is going to be helpful, because again, you can plan to take some of these courses as your elective. Or for example, let me find my way back. If we look at humanities, or in this case, they call it cultural and historical foundations, you may end up taking a course out of this list. There are more courses at Valencia under the humanities requirement than may transfer to UCF. So for example, we took Greek and Roman humanities, or we are taking it, and we finished Intro to Literature. If I look on this list, I don't see that. So Introduction to Literature, not going to be helpful. Most of the time, you can try to match up the course codes. So let's see if there's Humanities 2220. Nope. So see, for example, I've already kind of bungled it up if I'm the student. So when I am taking my courses, I want to think about that. You can see that these are far more geared maybe towards history kind of programs. So we can still use that information, again, to inform what we do at Valencia. Now, why do we need to do that? Well, that's what's going to come into play as we scroll to page 2, I believe, of the assignment. So the biggest part of this assignment is doing the term plan. It's the most complicated thing you'll do all semester by far. But basically what you're going to do is in the top box, again, if you are continuing at Valencia, whether it's to earn a full associate's degree and transfer or do an AS degree, we'll talk about that here in a minute. But you would fill in what your major is going to be at whatever college or university and what college or university that is. So I would say accounting, BABS, UCF. And then you're going to fill in your Valencia information here. So I would say my current semester is, nope, it's not summer, it's spring, 2023. And what am I currently taking now? SLS1122 for 3 credits. Then you can either go down or over, it doesn't matter. So now you're going to use the 2 documents we just looked at, your degree audit and your degree program sheet, to kind of map out the rest of your courses at Valencia. So let's say, what am I going to do this summer? Well, that wasn't supposed to happen, but that's okay. So I am going to say, let's see, ENC 1102, and I'll flip back to my accounting page, and let's say I'm going to take American history. So AMH 2010. Okay, and I'm good to go. And so I will continue. Okay, that's going to be a problem. Don't worry about that. I will continue to fill this out for all of my time at Valencia. When you get to the bottom, and don't forget about the last page, this just talks about some of those more deeper things you're going to have to do in order to be accepted. So for example, do you have an advisor at Valencia? Give you a hint, look for your academic profile in Atlas under the courses tab. I think it might also be called student profile now. So in Atlas, you would click courses on the left side, and you'll see it there on the page. And then explain what requirements must be met for admission to the program. So this is talking about what are UCF or USF or whomever's requirements to transfer. So what does my degree, my GPA need to be? Do I have to do some kind of portfolio or interview? Do I have to meet a foreign language requirement? What are the common program prerequisites? Again, if we go back to our degree program sheet, all that information is going to be here. So here are some of those degree questions, as far as what your GPS needs to be, your GPA. And here's our common program prerequisites. So this is what you would essentially copy and paste into box number 4. Number 5, what length of time do you need to complete your degree in terms at Valencia? So based on the term-by-term plan you did, count this all up. Okay, it's going to take me 9 semesters to graduate, which would put me at, I don't know, what, 2020 plus spring 2026? So that's what you would include here. Now, number 6 kind of looks back into part 1 as well. So why did you pick the school? Why did it get those advantages? And you're going to use evidence from both parts 1 and 2 to explain why this college is a good fit for you, perhaps how you meet the requirements already, or now you know the requirements and you're ready to go, whatever that happens to be. So again, that is if you are pursuing an associate in arts degree to transfer to a 4-year college. There is one other murky situation before we get into the AS degrees. You may be a dual enrollment student who is just here at Valencia in order to earn some credits. You don't actually plan to earn an associate's degree at Valencia. You know, maybe you're just going to take this course, Comp 1, and speech, just to get a little bit of a head start. If that's the case, you're not going to have a term plan. So this term-by-term plan, again, depending on kind of where you are in the process at Valencia, right now in the spring, odds are if you're one of these students, this is your last semester at Valencia, and you're going to start at a university in the fall. So if that's the case, you would simply mention that here in the top in program or transfer plan. You could just say dual enrollment, transferring after graduation, and then put the current semester that you have. Obviously, if that's the case, you're still going to have a degree program sheet for the college or university you're going to go to when you graduate high school. So you could still do the other parts. You could still do, the action plan on the last page, but your term plan will likely only have one semester. Let's say you're a junior right now in high school, and you plan to take more classes next school year at Valencia. You may have this spring, next fall, and next spring. So you may have 3 terms filled out. Even if you don't plan to continue at Valencia, you plan to go to a 4-year university. So those are really the 2 associate in arts options. And then, of course, some of you may be here seeking an associate in science degree. If you're at Valencia and you plan to stay and earn an AS degree, your process is going to be a little different, but you're still going to be able to do the entire assignment. So instead of going to a different college or university's website or Florida Shines, everything you need is going to be on the Valencia website. So if we click this link here in number 1, it's going to take us to Valencia's college catalog, just like the UCF one we were just in. And you'll see here on the left, it lists all of the AS degree requirements. So we have the general education requirements. These are classes that every AS student usually needs to take. So you can see it's not quite as heavy. You have to complete ENC 1101. You pick 1 humanities course, 1 math course, 3 science credits, so it's 1 science course, and so on and so forth. Usually because you are taking much more complicated, higher level classes when you work on the AS degree, more specialized information. So that's going to help us answer some of the questions from our, there we go, I'm lost in my tabs. That's going to help us answer some of the questions for our action plan. So these are kind of like the common program prerequisites, and would also need to be included in your term-by-term plan. And then on the left side, we're going to look for the AS degree that we're pursuing. So let's say we're in the nursing program. We're going to see which one fits for us. So which one are you enrolled in? Let's say it's the traditional AS degree or AS to BS. So it's going to list possibly some additional requirements. You have your minimum GPA there. Now, again, it's going to show us our program prerequisites. So you can see that general biology is required. So if we go back and look at those general education requirements to the science section, yes, Valencia gives you all of these different options to fulfill that requirement, but it would behoove you to pick the one that the nursing program requires. So if nursing requires you to take General Biology 1, take that as your science requirement. Same with humanities or math. General psychology will likely fill your social science requirement. Same with U.S. government. That will also fill your civic literacy. need, so every program is going to kind of have its specialized things that you'll need to do. So now if I scroll back up to the top, you'll see there's a different tab, so I can click Program Requirements. That is going to be the very specific nursing criteria that I need to follow. And you can see it even suggests what to take by semester in order to get all of your requirements fulfilled. So then you can see, once we get all those kind of prerequisite things done, now we're getting into the courses I need to take for the nursing program. So this is very simple. We have six terms laid out for us here. So you would, let's say you're just beginning, you might start with term 1 in the prerequisites as your current semester, and then you would just plug in what's listed for each of those terms in the term sheet. If we look at any other AS degree, let's say engineering technology, and pick, let's see, cybersecurity, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to give you some general information about the degree, ways that you can earn credit, and then up top we can go to the program requirements, and here's everything I need to take. It has different ideas for like specializations you can do, and it's important to note that some of these courses with asterisks listed here have prerequisites. So if you look in the course catalog, which you can do just by clicking on the course code, so if we go to network firewalls, you'll see it tells me I need to take CET 1610C before I can take that course. So even though that's not a requirement listed, in this case it is up here, but even though I don't see that here specifically, I need to account for that when I'm doing my term plan. This is most commonly faced when we come to the math courses that are required. So most degrees might say college algebra, MAC 1105 is your math requirement, but at Valencia you can't just start at college algebra. You either have to take a math placement test and be placed into it, or you have to start with intermediate algebra, which is MAT, oh geez, can I remember? It's 1011C. So you will possibly have some prerequisites. So that's an important thing to look out for as you're working on your term plan, because that can affect how long you stay at Valencia. That could add an extra semester of courses you need to take. So again, with the AS degree information, you'll take this and you'll plug it in to fill out your term plan. It should be even easier to fill out the action plan portion, since you'll be at Valencia. And so just like any of the other documents, you're going to print this or, like print to a PDF and submit that if you're an AS student. So you can see I just click Control P. It pulls up the print dialog with all the requirements, and now I can save that and attach it to my assignment. I didn't go over it, I don't think, when we looked at the AA portion, but same thing. You'll just print out, print to PDF that section of the catalog at the college or university you're pursuing, and you're going to submit that. So once you do that, that's it. I mean, it's not the most complicated thing. There's just a lot of moving parts to it. So I think this should help you be a little more successful in this assignment. Remember that you need to upload 3 documents when it comes to Part 2. The actual assignment PDF or Word document, your degree audit from the previous submission, and then your bachelor's program sheet or AS program sheet. You'll use those to inform your term plan. Your term plan only includes Valencia classes. So even if this is your last semester at Valencia, you're going to graduate with your AA a week or two from now? No, 3 weeks from now. You'll put your current semester and just leave a note for me in the comments that you don't have a full term plan because you're done. I'll notice that on your degree audit because you'll see that it usually will tell me how many credits you have. So if I look and I see that you have, 58 credits or 60 credits, I'll know you're done. And just another note, make sure that you're being thoughtful when it comes to number 6. I don't just want to see, I'm going to UCF because it's close. Show me that you actually internalized some of the information that you've researched for the academic blueprint assignment. Okay? I think that's about it for me. I wish you the best of luck, and of course, reach out if you have any questions at all.